a little tutorial that showed you the basics of rigging in Maya. So today what we're going to do is we're going to rig this cylinder with 3 joints. Now the basic steps are that we insert some joints, we orient the joints, we bind the joints to the mesh or the skin, and then we add some controls so that we can easily manipulate the joints without having to actually select the joints themselves. Okay, so to start we will go into our rigging menu, and in one of our orthographic views, so I'm going to choose my side view here, I'm going to grab the skeleton menu and create joints. There we go. Now I'm going to click to create my joints. So I'll do 1, 2, 3 joints like so, and then I'll go Q to come out of the tool, come out of my orthographic view, and let's have a look and see. Oh, I've lined it up very, very well. So that's all in the center. If you can't see in your viewport, if you can't see your joints x-rayed inside your geometry, like I have, you need to press this little button here, X-ray joints. Okay, so you can see I've got my joints nicely set up. I've done it from the base, and you can see here in the outliner that I've got joint 1, joint 2, joint 3. Now if I select them, you'll see that joint 3 is the topmost joint. So I might just rename these. I'll call this one the base joint. I'll call this one the mid joint, and I'll call this one the top joint. There it is. Alright, so I've got 3 joints set up. Now the thing that we need to do next is, you'll see if I go to my display, transform display, local rotation axes, this will show me the local rotation axis of each of the joints, and you'll see, let's open these up, you'll see that Maya hasn't, it's done not a bad job. Like, so generally I want all the X's to be going in the right direction, I want all the Y's to be going in the same direction. So you can see that the top one isn't correct. Sometimes these other ones are incorrect as well. To fix the top one, we need to select it, the top joint, and go to, this is a slight oddity, go to skeleton, orient joints, and open up the options box there, orient joints options. And actually for this top one, we just need to orient joint to world and go orient, and that'll fix that little problem there. So now they're all like nicely aligned. If yours weren't, you could go into each one, or you can select multiple ones. You can go skeleton, orient joint, open up the options, make sure this is unticked, make sure the primary axis is X and secondary is Y, and then go orient. You can see that's actually, stuffed mine up, so I'm just going to undo that because mine was correct to begin with. There we are. So once I'm happy with this, I'm going to go on to the next stage, which is to create well, we can do it either which way. We can bind the skin right now, or we can create the controls. I might just create some controls. I'm going to create a basic circle, and I'm going to scale that up, and I'm going to make 2 copies of it. So I've got 3 circles. I've got 3 joints, I've got 3 circles. So the first circle, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my, it doesn't matter, I'm going to rename these anyway, but what I want to do is center each circle to the center of the joint. And the way to do that is to hold down the V key and move it up. There it is, and I'll snap to the center. So hold down the V key, move up, and then hold down the V key and move up. It should just, they should just snap into the center there. You can see the central transform node of the or the transform widget has centered precisely to the center of my joints. Okay, so now I've got these three. Let's rename them. So this one is my top control. This one is my mid control. And this one is my base control. Right, now what I want to do is I have to do two more steps. I have I want these NURBS circles to be parented to each other. So I'm going to assume that this one is my base node. I'm going to do the same with the control, so that the top is parented to the mid and the mid is parented to the base. So we choose the child first. So we're going to go mid control to base, P, and then we're going to go top control to mid. Was that correct? Parent. And you should get base, mid, top. So if I move the top, have a look at this. If I move the top, it moves on its own. If I move the mid, it takes the top with it. And if I move the base, it takes the whole lot with it. That's what we want. Alrighty. So now we're looking pretty good actually. So let's go ahead now and bind, let's rename the cylinder pole. Let's bind the controls, the joints, to the mesh. So I'm going to select these. I'm going to select the joints, and then I'm going to shift select the mesh, and then I go to skin, bind, skin. And you'll see now, if I go and rotate my mid joint, let's go and rotate that, I've got a control point for the mesh. Alright, so let me now, what we want to do, it's the same with the bottom joint. Let's go and move that one around. Sorry, the base joint, and you'll see that the whole thing will move around. Very nice. So, and the same with the top joint. If I move that, let's have a look. You'll see. There we go. Alrighty. So, it's nice and easy. It can get very complicated, so you have to really watch your naming as you're doing this. But let's now, let's now parent the base joints. Sorry, parent the joints to the controls. So I'm going to go to do that. I'm going to go base joint to base control. And before I do that, actually, I'm going to select my controls, and I'm going to 0, 0, and freeze the transformations. Delete the history 0. And I won't. Don't center the pivots. Leave the pivots where they are. So these ones just need to be 0'd and history deleted, 0'd and history deleted. Alrighty. So now let's go. We're going to parent the base control, that's the child, to the base joint. So go constrain parent. We're going to parent the mid control to the mid joint, constrain parent, and we're going to constrain the top control to the top joint. Sorry, I keep doing that. Parent. Alrighty. So you can see that there's 3 constraints now on the joints, which mean that if I manipulate this, or let's take the mid control, excuse me, that I've now got a basic control rig for my mesh. Alright, that's all. Thank you very much. I'll see you in class.